He wants to beat his brother, so he thinks.
Let's see who gets more likes.
Let's see who gets more likes.
All right, let's go.
You ready? Okay. All right, this is just another clipper cut. Now this is the simple method. We did this earlier today talking about the different layered cuts. And remember what I said, if you recall, if you watched that video, the 180, everything, just look forward, mister. The 180, it comes straight up, while the flat top comes straight down. And this is the parietal line, as you can see it. It's much easier to see when you have shorter hair, but it's also much easier to see the room for error. This particular model, one thing you're going to notice right here, this gets to be a problem because it grows in that direction. That's the cowlick. The vertex is right here. So right at that center parietal line is where the vertex is at. So we know that on each side of the vertex, there's cowlicks, and his is right here. So what we want to do is we're going to take it short, but we want to keep it so that we're going to texturize it so that comes forward instead of popping out. I want to show you something else. Now, this side, as you can see, grows forward. See, I'm going to push it back and it pops back forward again. He grows down a little bit right here, but just right at the lower ridge and the parietal line, he grows forward. So those are factors as far as what are you going to do with the cut. The back, not bad because he grows off to the sides. So this grows a little bit to the center right here, but he grows off to the sides on each side. This is what you're going to look at when you're doing it. Now, look at this. This lays down nicely. It's got like a curve, still a forward growth pattern. It's got a curve to it, but once we cut it up, it's telling us what we need to do with the texture shear. Now, if you look at this right here, you can definitely see that circular cowlick line. So these are the factors when they say, well, don't cut it too short there because it sticks up. Okay, I'm going to show you what you need to do with your texture shear so that it doesn't stick up, so that it lays down and does what you want it to do. And I can let me get my other texture shear out here, kind of give you a sample. Looking for a texture, there it is. Okay, I'm going to give you a sample. You see how this is just sticking up? Okay, texture shear, the comb of the texture shear in the direction that we want it to go. And you're automatically going to see this already just start laying down. So these are the tricks of the trade as far as what do we need to do here. We want this to go forward. So there you go. It's laying down. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Now once we trim this up a little bit more, but you can see that that's following that curve, you go in the direction that you want it to go. Now if I took it back, it would stand up more. What we're trying to do is get it to lay down. The circle goes around in that direction, this, now, just scissor over comb, and it lays down, smooth. You see a nicer line. I can see this elevated up here just a scotch. And it'll just kind of come down for you. So this I did just before we cut it. We'll be doing it again just to work it up a little bit, but this is going to be a quick cut. We're just doing a number 2. We're going to go up on it. Might do a 1.5 along the nape in a little bit, but we're just going to take it. I'm going to turn him around. This is my grandson, and his brother got one a while back, so tell everybody because he wants to beat his brother's numbers. All right? So, I try not to talk too much about this, but I do, talk to you guys about the book. Everything, every detail that I talk about hair cutting, you're going to find in that book on the last chapter on color. It's everything you need to know about color. Do you still need to learn how to work it on a client? Yes. That's called experience. That's called practice. So there's a lot of variables, but if you know color in your brain, you'll know how to do color on a client. All right, so again, always brace. This is a number 2, which he said. I said I want a number 2. So I'm going to take it up to the lower ridge. That's it. He doesn't want skin. I'm going to hold it down here at the tragus. Pull back around. Grace, take it up again, like I said, and you can definitely see because of that forward growth. Do you see that hard line right there? And that has everything to do with that forward growth. So if you wanted to clean that up, and just fade it in, you would stretch the skin, take the clipper at a slight angle where only half the clipper is taking care of that. Do you see where that just fades it in? Now look, I'm only cutting it with this part of the clipper. The other part of the clipper is up in the air. It's not cutting. This is a number 2, so we got it. So that takes care of a lot of that hard line. Now I'm going to go up, take it in different directions, smooth that out just a bit. And like I said, if you don't know how to carve, it's going to be real difficult for you later. All right, so I'm going to take this up again, the lower ridge, carving as I go. And this, again, you know, you guys just had that diagram on doing a clipper cut. Can you go back in now and do a clipper cut? Remember, you're going to take it with a number 2 up to the lower ridge. You're going to carve into it. And just coming on up right here. Come up with it. Come up with it. Now we don't have as much of a hard line here because it curves. But I'm going to stretch the skin. Pull it up, carve into that. See, if I didn't know where the lower ridge was at, if I just said cut it to here, or your here and my here would be 2 different things. There's a defined lower ridge. Now here's a clue for you. This is a cheater's clue right here. See that where the hair comes out? Not everybody has that, but he does. That's your lower ridge line. So there's a clue for you to do it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my clipper comb and I'm going to take this down to a 0 and then I'm going to clean up the sides. Actually, I think it's, yeah, it's a 1.5, but it'll work. All right, and this is going to go real quick. We're not going to spend a lot of time with it, but do watch it because he wants to beat his brother on the numbers. Now see, I'm coming straight up. The comb is being held, what? Straight up. I'm not going beyond the parietal line. I'm only taking it to the parietal line. Do you see that? That's not going any higher than that. Again, I'm going to make sure you see it. Comb is straight up. See it coming up? And all I'm doing, and that creates a real nice faded area. Looks like you spent more time on it, but I'm letting the comb do a lot of the work for me. I'm not holding the comb at this angle, I'm holding it straight up. Now on this side, it makes it real hard. You need to, when you're using your comb, if I go in this direction, I'm going in the direction that it's growing. Go against it. You'll see when I go against it, it picks that hair up to cut it. If I go with it, it lays the hair down, and that's more work. Here's another thing you can do. Take it straight up in this form, come across. It makes it a little harder because I'm going to do it a little bit diagonally so that you can see it as I do it. Nice diagonal cut there, but you see where that fades out right up, keeps it nice and clean, creates a nice look. And again, I'm going to start going straight up again. And if one doesn't work, try the other. Look, I'm going in the opposite direction now, just to pick up that hair. You get it all in there. And he's got a nice, clean look. I like this side so much better than the other side, because what? It lays better. The other side, I got to work on it just a little bit more. Got rid of that hard line. Now I'm gonna get my, let's see, get this. Turn it around. I'm gonna get my trimmer and I'm gonna go through it. Now what have we done so far? Did you draw the head form to do this? Remember, you have to learn to carve out when you're doing it. You hold your clipper like this. I know, I see it, it's not wrong, but that's gonna hurt your back after a while. My elbow is down. The more you keep your elbows down, the more secure you're gonna be in what you're doing. So I'm gonna come back around here. We're gonna clean up his ears just a bit. Now you see that little dark spot there? I'm gonna take my clipper comb, bring it out just a skosh. There you go. Clean that up to blend nicely. And I'm really pressing against his face on this to get it done. I'm gonna line him up a bit. Gives it a nice clean cut. Bring the ear down. Remember, you put it on your finger and do a little halfway turn there to the tip of the ear. Bring it forward, put it on the other finger. There you go, just that half circle. Just a skosh right there. Bring that up. I'm going to bring him forward and I'm just going to go through along the hairline. That's it. So that makes that look a whole lot cleaner. I'm going to turn him around over to the other side. Same thing. Bring that ear down a bit. Place it so that you create that nice half. If you're trying to do that half circle and he moves or whatever, it becomes a problem. In this sense, if he moves, you can feel him move and immediately pull away. So now I'm going to take it. Again, I'm bracing. I see so many people just come up in that form. Brace. Bracing says you are in control. Okay, now you can see the growth pattern a whole lot better now. See how this kind of grows in, yet this grows out. It's not extremely visible, but we do have to take the lower line at the lower nape here just a little bit higher, because if we bring it down too low, it's going to look a little bit off. And normally what I like to do is start at the center, go center to side, instead of going across. I never recommend that you do this, but being that I'm doing the video, and the reason for that is because you won't get it even. I got one little area right here. I have to turn him around and look at him. But you can see because of that growth pattern, he looks lighter there. A little bit softer, a little bit lighter. And you don't want to take it too high. You don't want to take it to the earlobe. You want to stay like a little bit below the earlobe so that it rests nicely. But that has to do with his growth pattern. There you go, much better. Okay, so now we're going to take care of the top. And first we're going to clean up these sides right here to blend up a little bit. Let me see where my clipper is. Is it front or back? It's front. Okay, I'm just going to reach over and put it over there. Try and get it. There you go. So when I turn him, it doesn't fall out. Okay, so I'm just going to use my clipper comb to do this. And you can. We had a company come up one time. I love it. I love it. They gave me my own little water bottle. I bought a lot from them. We used to have these hair shows and stuff. What's the name of that company? I wish I knew, because I would send you to them. I'll have it for you next time. It's in the back of my mind. You know how you think about those things and it's kind of in the back of your mind and you don't remember? That's how it is. Where's my other water bottle? Oh no, I'm going to clean that up just a little bit more. I can see that. Sometimes you have to step away from it, so it makes it harder when you're doing the videos and such. Okay, now see how that's laying down now. You wet it, and it's down. You don't have that popping up anymore. And your texture shear is so important to get that and to do it correctly. All right, so he's not too concerned about having a part. So what I'm going to do with this area right here is I'm just going to texture shear it up to blend. How much length are you wanting off the top? Just a little bit or a lot?
About like finger length.
Okay. Finger length for me is this.
A little less than that. Probably like an inch.
Okay, there. See, because finger length for different people is pretty short. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to go across. And what I'm going to do is a 180, but I'm doing it scissor over comb. I'm going to take it, push the hair with your shear. See that stand up? Push the hair with your shear. I'm up at the upper ridge now. Going down to the center apex. Going up to the upper ridge on the other side, and that's where I'm going to stop. Cut it straight across, bring it down. I have my guide now. Remember I told you front to back is volume. Front to back, if they have waves, gets rid of them. So those are big factors, okay? Now I've got my guide and I can see it on the other side. So I know I've got my elbow in front of the camera, but there you go. And I'll show it to you in a minute. Now I'm at the upper ridge on the other side of the apex. This is your Y. There you go. It's even. This right here is still from the other side. So yeah, it's pretty even. So I'm going to clean up the other side now. I'm going to bring it over. That's the upper ridge. So I'm going to bring that over, match it up. So you can make it even if you know where you're at and you know where you're going. If you keep guessing where you're at, right, you're not going to have it even. Now what happens here? Do you see this area on the forehead? So even if I raise this straight up, this area, as you can see, is going to be longer than the area up at the frontal fringe bang. It's going to be a little longer right at the frontal because it starts growing down. So this hair will be longer than this hair because this is higher. This is the highest part of the head form. So when you're knowing that, and they say they want it even, well, it won't be even if you don't know that. So once we get to that point, I'm going to take it first, blend it straight. See my guide? I'm right at the center frontal fringe. I'm going to bring it up to the upper ridge at the center frontal fringe. Right? I'm going to come over to the other side. Bring it over, up, center frontal fringe. And now, in order to make this even, I'm just going to pick it up and do a diagonal cut. Why? Because this head, this part of the head, I'm sorry,
That's okay.
this part of the head reverts back. So now he doesn't have that little long corner, and look at how it automatically did bangs for him. Not Dora bangs, but you know. So he's going to want this to come back. He wants it to pop up a little bit. He wants it to be even. This is where my texture shear is really going to do some work. So we want this to go over. We want it to flip over, to follow the rest of that hair, to come up because it grows forward. Teeth are going to take it in that direction. Scissor over comb, and again, working the same thing, smoothing that cut up. And you'll see it. You'll see it just kind of come up by itself. Won't have to do much work. You'll be able to finger comb it. And this right here, I'm just going to ride it and bring it up. It smooths out the line. You work on those ends and just ride it. And it just smooths it right up. Instead of trying to get it with your fingers and cutting it, you need to do scissor over comb. Now you can see a little bit of a hard line right there, so I'm just going to take care of the ends, ride it right up. That hard line is gone. Nice and clean. It's exactly what we want. So we've got a little bit of a corner there that I can see. I'm just going to go back with it And all I'm doing is I'm taking it out only to the tips, the ends. Now I don't want to take that too far back because I want this to go up. So I want to take this again, clean it up. Right here, I want this to go forward a bit. I want to get rid of that little cowlick. Let's see if we can do that. See that little hole right there? Okay, and I'm gonna, almost gone. So it's very simple to do with the texture shear. Sometimes on video you can see it more because you can see the light and the dark on the skin. So that's where it becomes a little bit evident on it. You can still see it a little bit, but as he works it, he'll be able to cover that up. Okay, we've got a little bit of a hard line right here, just the ends. And I think I want to do it vertically because I want it to lay down. Now I'm just pulling the ends up, that's it. And I'm doing it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 as I move the comb to do it. Okay, so he's got a real nice blend now. It's coming in good. And I want to clean this up. I'm going to line them up right there in just a minute. I want this to lay down, so I'm going to put my elbow up. Well, not really. I'm using what? Extended. You know, what? Could I go this? No, I'm using the extended. Keep my elbow down. Bring this down. There you go. Laying down, a whole lot better. Much nicer. Clean, presentable. His fiance is going to be proud to walk with him now. Let him clean him up a little bit. And I'm going to line him up on this side. This is what I want you to see. I'm blow drying the heck out of it all over the place. And watch it come back. Just lay down real nice with just a little bit of stroking. Warm up that hair. Bring it up. Look at that. It just goes right back in. Lays real nice for him. He's got a good head of hair to work with too. So let me line up this side. And I see a little bit right there. So bring him up. Line him up a bit. Clean that up. At a distance, I can see that. Don't ever be afraid that if you see something on a client that you say, hey, wait a minute, come back here. I just saw something I missed. They appreciate the fact when you do that. Because they're going to walk out and other people are going to see it. So be aware that, you know, you can say, hey, wait a minute. Let's see what we did here. And I'm going to get, let me see, a little bit of this gel here. Now he looks more handsome than he did when he walked in. Now you gotta agree, right? Thanks, guys. God bless.